Russian strategic aircraft. As reported by the head of the SBU, Lieutenant General Vasyl Malyuk, the estimated cost of the enemy aircraft that were destroyed as a result of the special operation Web is $7 billion. As Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who authorized the operation a year and a half ago, said, the Russian Federation lost more than 40 strategic aircraft. As the head of state noted, during the preparation and conduct of Operation Spiderweb, our people operated in different Russian regions, in 3 time zones. On the eve of the final stage, those who helped in its conduct were taken out of Russia and are now safe. It should also be added that even before the start of Operation Web, Ukrainian intelligence had information about the preparation of another Russian massive strike, specifically with the use of tactical aircraft. We understand who we are dealing with. We will defend ourselves with all methods available to us, available to Ukraine, and available to Ukrainians, the President of Ukraine concluded, emphasizing that the country does not refuse peace talks with the Russian Federation and continues to offer a complete, unconditional ceasefire and all other steps that can provide lasting and reliable peace. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Oleksandr Syrskyi, held a final meeting on the results of the activities of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in May. According to published data, as of May 31st, the Russian occupiers had lost more than 34,000 personnel. They suffered the greatest losses in the eastern direction, in the area of responsibility of the operational, strategic grouping of troops, Kortitsia. There, according to the OSUV, Russia lost 27,372 soldiers. The defense forces continue to restrain the enemy, inflicting significant losses on him. The enemy focused its main efforts on the Pokrovsky, Torets, Limansky, Novopavlivsky directions, as well as on the border areas with the Russian Federation of the Sumy region. It has significantly intensified in the Zaporizhia direction, where it is conducting active offensive operations, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported. The armed forces are taking measures to increase the stability of defense by strengthening the threatening directions and the degree of fire damage to the enemy with reserves. Active actions are also being taken to improve the tactical position, including on the territory of the aggressor country. As reported by General Syrskyi, the defense forces are actively destroying the enemy and its defense potential in the deep rear. Thus, in May, deep strike weapons were used to strike 58 targets on the territory of the Russian Federation. Military facilities were hit, and the capabilities of the aggressor's military-industrial complex were undermined. Among the targets were explosives production facilities and strike UAVs. Our forces are continuing their operation in the Kursk direction. The enemy is keeping its best units here, which it planned to use in the east. The defense forces are managing to inflict significant losses on the enemy and defend our northern borders. At the same time, the enemy has the advantage in using fiber optic drones, which significantly complicates the fight against them. I thank each defender for their courage and professional combat work. We continue to destroy the Russian occupiers and bring a just peace to Ukraine, summed up the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Oleksandr Syrskyi. On the border of Sumy region, Russian occupiers are trying to expand their positions toward the settlements of Yunakivka and Khotin. This was stated by the spokesman for the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, Colonel Andriy Demchenko, during a telethon. According to him, the enemy is trying to advance only in small infantry groups using artillery and aviation. As reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 146 combat clashes took place on the front over the past 24 hours. The enemy attacked the most in the Pokrov direction, where the defense forces of Ukraine stopped 47 attacks by the aggressor. In the Lyman direction, the Russian occupiers attacked 20 times. In Novopavlovsk, the defense forces repelled 14 enemy attacks. The operation in Kursk, China is ongoing. There were 19 combat clashes there. The enemy fired 215 artillery shells at our positions, 6 of them using multiple launch rocket systems. The enemy also carried out 10 airstrikes, dropping 28 guided aerial bombs. All these actions by the enemy received a worthy response from us. Russian special services have intensified attempts to recruit Ukrainian citizens in order to involve them in illegal activities in the territory of the European Union. This was reported by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense. Potential perpetrators are offered monetary rewards for participating in illegal activities, monitoring critical infrastructure facilities, and performing other tasks for the benefit of the aggressor state. These are mainly Ukrainians from temporarily occupied territories who found themselves in a difficult situation. Recruiting Ukrainians to implement hostile scenarios in Europe is another tool of hybrid aggression that the Russian Federation is waging against Ukraine and the entire European community. The GUR of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine urges, in the event of an attempt to establish contact by suspicious persons, it is necessary to immediately contact the law enforcement agencies of the country of your stay or Ukrainian diplomatic institutions, the intelligence agency said in a statement.